It's a packed house tonight here at Busch Stadium. The Cardinals with the win could jump into first place of the NL Central. Also, they're handing out the Willie McGee jersey, the fan favorite number 51. It's a beautiful night here in the Gateway City. We're excited for baseball. It's game number 2 between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Last night, the Cardinals' bats exploded, in particular in the 7th inning. 9 consecutive hits to begin that inning as the Cardinals played at 7. Pete Kozma broke an over 33 skid. The big blast, though, that one right there. Yadier Molina highlighting the inning after being knocked down with a 3-run shot, and the Cardinals rolled to within a half game of first place. And with my partner tonight, Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to Cardinals baseball. And the Cardinals hopefully carry that momentum from last night here to game number 2.
Well, that's what you've got to do, Dan. Yes, it was an explosion last night. The Cardinals' bats were really silent on the road trip. They need to continue to do what they did last night, center the ball, pick up runs, and hit with runners in scoring position.
Also last night, another terrific outing from Joe Kelly. Will that carry over to Adam Wainwright? We'll talk about Waino when we come back. It's Saturday Night Baseball on Fox Sports Midwest.
Couple of rough starts in a row for Adam Wainwright, but the really important thing is what will he do over the next 3 weeks? Wainwright's first half, outstanding. 12-5 second half, just 3-4 with an ERA of nearly 5. But with the 3 and hopefully plus weeks ahead for the Cardinals, that is the real important question.
Wainwright is 15-9. The lefty Jeff Locke 9-4. 2 All-Stars. 2 teams battling for first place on a gorgeous night at Busch Stadium. Tonight, they are in first place all alone in the Central. Cincinnati has already posted a victory, just a game and a half back. Pittsburgh, St. Louis, Cincinnati, a race to the finish. At the wall, goodbye! Beltran takes him deep. And this ball is gone. Brandon Phillips. This is trouble. And Neil Walker, it's a two-run homer. Oh, what a pick. Outstanding catch. Oh, what a play. Diving for the bag and got it. Relay to the plate. Safe. Got him.
Swing and a miss.
One of the most dominating pitching performances ever.
All kinds of smiles for Cincinnati.
And that is gone. The Pirates' fourth home run of the day. Cincinnati holds on for the victory. The Pirates take 2 of 3. Cardinals have a sweep. Up a live look at him for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Meanwhile, for the St. Louis Cardinals, Adam Wainwright just finished up his warm-up tosses on his way in for the bullpen. Big ovation for he and Yachty. Over 45,000, we just learned that, in the house tonight. You've got a front row seat on Fox Sports Midwest. Baseball coming up next. by DraftMark Home Tap System. Fresh draft Budweiser beer now available from your fridge. See your Mid-America Chevy dealer or log on to stlchevy.com. Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 for quality tires and expert auto service. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by Steak and Shake. Steak and Shake, just no equal. One of the largest crowds of the season here tonight at Busch Stadium. A Cardinals win. They're in first place of the NL Central Division. Pittsburgh starting a half game in front of St. Louis. We turn to Rick Horton's keys to the game presented by Toyota.
The pitching matchup is key. You have two all-star pitchers who have been struggling of late, Jeff Locke and Adam Wainwright, and you hope that the veteran can adjust better. Wainwright supposedly has found something out about tipping pitches. We'll see if he can make that adjustment tonight. And the Cardinals need to keep risping. 9 for 20 with runners in scoring position yesterday in the big offensive explosion.
Adam Wainwright, one strikeout away to pass Dizzy Dean into second place on the all-time Cardinals list. And on Saturday nights, wearing the alternate uniform, this guy has been sensational.
In fact, 3 complete games on Saturday, and Wainwright has 5 complete games to lead all of baseball. Something about pitching at home, something about pitching on Saturday. The third one came on the 1st of June, and again, finishes that game off with the classic Wainwright curveball and a big hug from Yachty.
And tonight it is his team leading 30th start of the season, 3-0 on Saturdays at home. All 3 have been complete games. Let's take a look at the lineup for Clint Hurdle and the first place Pirates. Tabata, Walker, McCutchen. The recently acquired Morneau and Bird back-to-back. Pedro Alvarez has dropped down to 6th in this lineup. Leads their team in home runs. Then it's Martin, who has tore up the Cardinals this year. Clint Barmas and the pitcher Jeff Locke. Around the Horn is brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Some changes here for game number 2. Shane Robinson at center field. He'll get the start. Pete Kozma is at short. How about Brock Peterson? Long time minor leaguer. Even in independent ball for a while. Brock Peterson getting the start at first base with Craig's injury. So we turn to our Kia starter tonight, and that is Adam Wainwright.
30th start for Wainwright. You see the 5 complete games, 15-9 record. Only 2 pitchers in the National League with more wins than Adam Wainwright. He is a bulldog. 200-plus innings again, 187 strikeouts. And I'd like to see Adam Wainwright attack the strike zone early. He has gotten off to slow starts in these starts that haven't been quite so good for him. I want to see aggressiveness, and I want to see him attack the zone.
The Pirates, by the way, have activated Starling Marte from the DL, but not in their lineup tonight. Is Tabata on the first pitch. Pops it foul and out of play, and we're underway. As Tabata has been very good against the Cardinals, in particular here at Busch Stadium, close to a 400 hitter in his career. And overall, he's batting .276. 4 home runs, and he's driven in 25. Big gap in left center. Breaking ball slowly hit left side. There's David Freese. One away. First 15 pitches. You see that this season. The opponent's hitting .314, so slow starts have been a problem for Adam.
That's what we're talking about. .314 average. Very unusual for Wainwright when you track all of his career numbers. But this year, been a bit of a different story, especially lately. So that important start for him here is 1, 2, 3 in the first. And Kenny again attack the zone, establish the off-speed pitches.
Here is Neil Walker, the Pittsburgh native. Second baseman looks at strike 1. Walker with pretty good numbers against Wainwright. 6 for 16. He's a switch hitter and overall batting .262. Outfield is straight away. His time is called. David Freese way off the line, even with the bag at third. Cincinnati has already posted a win today. 10 innings over the Dodgers. How about Billy Hamilton? Again, a stolen base, and Frazier brings him in for the game winner. 3 times that now has paid big dividends for Dusty Baker.
What a weapon.
Yeah, I'd say so. now more than ever, you hear about teams talking about being able to detect pitchers tipping pitches. Cardinals think that they've done that with Wainwright.
We saw some swings in his last start that would indicate that hitters knew what was coming. Guys who don't normally hit a good breaking pitch were looking for it, then reacting on a fastball inside, and it does give you kind of the concern that the word has been spread that Adam does something slightly different, so they've been studying it. According to Mike Matheny, without giving the specifics, they've addressed it, and we'll see if he can make that adjustment here tonight.
How tough do you think it would be from a pitcher's perspective, Rick, and you did it for a number of years at this level? For argument's sake, let's just say he was doing something with his glove or whatever the case may be, but to put that out of your mind and just pitch.
That's a great question. It's not that easy to do. You almost have to do it with your side session and focus on it and make it become a habit. If you're doing something, squeezing the glove, let's say, or looking down at the last second when you're going to throw a breaking ball, you know, all those things are hard habits to break. And if you're thinking about the habit, which I think is the point of your question, and not the pitch, you're really not thinking right. So you use the advice, but you don't overreact to it, and you don't focus on it.
2-2 the count, 1 out. Nobody on, just underway here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. First place on the line in the NL Central. And again, time is called. Second time that Neil Walker has done that, and you wonder if he's just trying to mess a little bit with Wainwright, his timing towards the plate. Breaking ball, and that's hit to short. Charging, glove by Pete Kozma. 2 outs. Brings in Andrew McCutchen. He is one in this group of 5 that have hit Adam Wainwright in their career very well. McCutchen 10 for 25. 3 doubles and a home run. And a pitch taken just a bit low. Andrew McCutchen is 3rd in the league in hitting at 320. And he's also 1 home run shy of another 2020 season. 20 home runs, 20 steals. And that'll be his 3rd consecutive year that he does that, which would tie Barry Bonds. That's a base hit out to left. Bonds did it back in the early 90s for Pittsburgh.
Breaking ball up in the zone. Didn't pull it down quite enough.
In steps Justin Morneau. Picked up from Minnesota. Still looking for that first home run and RBI, wearing the Pirates uniform, but overall good numbers. He's also helped them out defensively, and they want to go inside. First pitch taken for a ball. Larry Vanover, longtime Major League ump, is behind the plate tonight, calling your balls and strikes. Manny Gonzalez at first base, the crew chief Brian Gorman at second, and Tony Randazzo is your third base umpire. 2 balls and no strikes as he missed with the cutter.
Hard.
2-1.
Very few walks for Adam Wainwright. Tries to hit the corner, and we'll say he hit it. Only 1.3 walks per 9 innings. The best walk per 9 inning ratio in the National League.
Rick, 29 batters he has walked, and tonight being start number 30, so a chance to have more starts than walks for an entire season.
Incredible.
For a guy that's going to give you 200 plus innings and well above 200. A 3-1 pitch. Breaking ball and a check swing. He did go. No appeal necessary. Morneau didn't like that. Some barking down there from the Pittsburgh dugout. Glenn Hurdle, the first manager to get the Pirates to at least 500 since 1992. Gene Lamont tried it. Lloyd McClendon, Jim Tracy, John Russell. Runner goes on this 3-2, and it's fouled back.
Found it interesting on our pregame show yesterday that Bob Walk, who does color commentary for the Pirates, really likened Clint Hurdle in a way to Chuck Tanner, who managed the Pirates at one time, and it's kind of that easygoing but extremely positive guy, and that's really the word. There's Walkie on the left, and with Clint Hurdle, you're going to get positive.
Off-speed pitch, he struck him out, and with that, Adam Wainwright, second all-time in St. Louis Cardinals history in strikeouts. Congratulations, Adam Wainwright. Up next, he's got a ways to go. The great Bob Gibson, over 3,000 Ks wearing that Cardinal uniform. Matt Carpenter leads it off. Then Robinson, Holiday, Beltran, Molina, and Freese. Brock Peterson, Pete Kozma, Adam Wainwright. Around the Horn brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Tabata, McCutcheon, and Bird in the outfield. Alvarez and Barmes on the left side. Walker, Morneau on the right side. Russell Martin, Saladier. He's behind the plate. Not sure what to expect tonight from Jeff Locke.
I don't think he's sure what to expect tonight either. He has not pitched for quite some time. In fact, it was the 27th of August. 7.02 ERA in 7 starts, and they gave him kind of a mental physical break and sent him to Double-A, not to even pitch, just to rest. And so Clint Hurdle not sure what to expect from a guy who was an all-star after putting together a solid first half.
Speaking of a solid first half plus second half, maybe an MVP candidate, Matt Carpenter, and there's a look at the numbers. The ERA over 6 for Locke in the second half. Outfield is straight away. Matt Carpenter has 98 hits this season here at home, and that has tied the stadium single season record, which was set by Pujols back in 2008. And the last Cardinals to collect 100 or more hits at home, both Pujols and Renteria. That was at Busch Stadium 2. And Matt hitting .377 at home this year. And we saw this shift used by the Pirates last night. Didn't help. Another big evening for Matt Carpenter in Game 1.
Locke may be struggling, but he is left-handed. And that's what the Cardinals are going to have to overcome. They have their right-handed lineup in. You mentioned Brock Peterson getting the start at first base for Matt Adams. You've got no Alan Craig, who's still recovering from his foot sprain. So you need production from Holiday, Beltran, Molina, and Freese in the middle of the lineup.
Leadoff walk, Matt Carpenter. Rick, when you think about the bunt here, even though it's the first inning, you've got, I don't want to say the B lineup in, but bench players, one of them right here in Shane Robinson. You'd love to set the tone here in game number 2 after pounding the Pirates last night and put pressure on the young lefty.
I wouldn't bunt, not out of the question, but I like Shane Robinson hitting the ball the right side of the infield here with that hole open. He's very good at hitting the ball the other way, and Shane is fast enough that he's probably not going to hit into a double play unless he hits a bullet right at somebody, and then you could always steal him if you have to. So I say give him a shot with the bat first. Maybe even a hit and run at some point.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. Inside, 2 balls, no strikes. Jeff Locke was part of the deal that saw them pick up Gorkys Hernandez and Charlie Morton, who, by the way, will start tomorrow for the Pirates when the Braves picked up Nate McLouth. That was back in 2009. A 2-0 pitch. 2-1.
It's a little thing, Dan, but I don't really like bunting after a pitcher walks a batter or two. I feel like there's a degree to which the pitcher is struggling. Let him struggle some more. And if you give up an out right after he walks somebody, I think you're in some ways doing him a favor.
Good point. A 2-1 pitch here to Robinson. Carpenter was leaning. Russell Martin, I mentioned it before. The Pirates really have improved in a lot of the little things. One of those things is catching base stealers. Russell Martin has caught 28 this year, 44 steals against him.
Locke has 2 balks on the season.
A 2-1 pitch, and Robinson hits it foul out of play. And they do tell us that Jeff Locke has a pretty good move and has been able to negate any kind of running game the opposition may want to try to get going against them. Cardinals are 4th from the bottom in the National League against left-handed starting pitching. Only 16 wins this year. You think about potential postseason matchups. Pittsburgh, a good example with Locke, Liriano, Cingrani in Cincinnati, Kershaw with the LA Dodgers. So you're going to advance at some point. You're going to see lefties. And Robinson waves at it, strikes out. The first strikeout for Jeff Locke tonight.
That's really his best pitch, a changeup. Pulls a string on it, down and away. Robinson reads fastball, and he's out front.
Talk about that changeup with the right-handers, how it just fades away.
You're trying to get them to try to pull the ball, trying to yank it because they see a ball they can hit, and then once they start to pull away from it and it drifts away from them, they can't really make that adjustment once you start your swing. And perfectly located by Locke.
Another one there to Matt Holliday. He stayed away. Holliday this season at .286, and he's 4 for 5 against this left-hander. Locke was drafted out of Kennett High School in New Hampshire and signed with the Braves back in 2006, then traded over here to Pittsburgh. Holliday bounces into a double play. 4, 6, 3 on the double play. We played an inning here at Busch Stadium. Wainwright back to work. He'll deal with Bird, Alvarez, and Martin when we come back. all-time Cardinals history and strikeouts. We check in with Jim Hayes. And Jim, I'm assuming that for many of those years for Adam Wainwright, he wasn't always tipping pitches. Well, so is he doing it now?
He told me himself the other day he had been tipping pitches over his last couple of starts. Mike Matheny was talking about that before the game. Matheny said the Reds just laid off too many good curveballs, like they knew what pitch was coming. That made them suspicious. He said Chris Carpenter said he picked up a tell from Wainwright. They got some teammates together, some coaches. They looked at video and confirmed there was a tell. Wainwright said they corrected the problem, and he thinks it's behind him, Dan.
All right, Jim, thanks. And he looks sharp here early on. 0-2 on Marlon Byrd, who's had a resurgence this year with the Mets and the Pirates. Byrd is hitting .291. He taps it foul. Give Marlon Byrd some credit. You know, last year he was hit in the face. He did serve the 50-game suspension. Not many teams wanted him around. And he went to Mexico, completely changed his swing, and wanted to show what he could do one more time as he strikes out. 2 in a row now for Wainwright. And he has had a solid year. So Waino is past Dizzy Dean. He passed Chris Carpenter earlier, and your good friend and a man that is sorely missed around here, Bob Forge.
You bet. That's a great list right there. You think about the number of strikeouts Wainwright's going to have to get to pass Bob Gibson. He's going to have to pitch till he's about 53, I think.
So what you're telling me is that Gibson's 3,000 plus.
Pretty safe.
Pretty safe.
Part of that, Dan, you and I were talking about the number of innings that Bob Gibson used to throw in a year. Very different than what pitchers today throw. You have a larger staff, deeper bullpen, and they're really just asking the starter to go 6 and 7 most nights. Now Wainwright does have 5 complete games, but Gibson used to get a ton more than that.
Put it in perspective, Bob Gibson 255 complete games,
about 20 a year,
and 251 wins. Fly ball out to left, and that's off the bat of Alvarez. 2 down.
Well, the National League had 20 complete games.
12 times he was over 200 innings, Bob Gibson. Twice he went over 300 innings. But the amazing stat, I think all of us that are with Cardinal baseball talk about all the time, he finished what he started. 255 complete games, 251 wins. Here's Russell Martin. And Martin, in 13 games against the Cardinals this year, 6 home runs, 6 of his 13 total.
34 complete games so far by National League pitchers this year as a group.
Oh, 2 on Russell Martin. The cutter misses outside. Well, video now is such an important part of the game, and just about every single game is on TV. Clearly it helps to have guys like Chris Carpenter detecting flaws, and Jim Edmonds was just awesome at doing that.
Yeah, he was.
But the video really is so important now. A 2-2. Curveball in the dirt. The story of the season series between the Pirates and the Cardinals, home runs hit. The Pirates have hit 19 home runs against St. Louis this year. 19. Outfield is straight away and deep. A 3-2 pitch, and it's spoiled by Martin.
Cy Young, by the way, Dan, had in 1892 48 complete games. Started 49 games, completed 48 of them. Had a 1.93 ERA and was 36-12. That's how you get an award named after you.
That would probably do it. A rare walk by Adam Wainwright. It comes to Martin with 2 outs. Looked to be strike 3. He thought he had it. Some of his teammates started to walk off the field. Instead, a 2-out walk, and extends the inning to Clint Barmes, who is 7 for 19 with 3 doubles against Adam Wainwright.
And one last stat to fill your head, Dan. In that year, Cy Young threw 453 innings.
How'd they do that?
I don't know how he did that.
Just looking at some of the numbers when we were in Cincinnati of Dizzy Dean's. One year he had over 300 strikeouts, and Dean for 5 consecutive years led the league in strikeouts. And remember, he finished up pitching for the Browns briefly, but all that time for Dizzy Dean was not in his major league career spent in St. Louis. So he was second all time in strikeouts. 7 years of his big league career spent with the St. Louis Cardinals. 0-2 on Clint Barmes. The check on Russell Martin. A buzz in the air here at the ballpark. The Willie McGee giveaway. Beautiful night, and first place on the line here in September. Had him out in front, and it's popped up. Carpenter wants it. He has it. Big crowd. They've even got the 1982 World Series patch there. The blue uniforms from that 82 season. The fans are wearing them. Even Rick Horton has decided to put on his number 51.
Why wouldn't I?
It's a nice look. Creve Coeur Camera Photo Day is Saturday, September 14th. Cardinals.com/promotion. So a week from today, players on the field. You'll be there as well, taking photographs of your favorite Cardinal stars. I talked to Willie in spring training, and Willie is now a special assistant, which I think is great, to John Mozeliak. So without question, a part of the Cardinals organization. and dresses out in spring training for a week or two. Wants to become more involved with the team now that his kids are starting to get older. Very much a family man. As Beltran looks at his strike, and I said, with all the great things that you did in your career, I said, now you've really had time to reflect on it, look back your time in the big leagues. Batting championship, MVP, 4-time All-Star, World Series champ. I said, what is the moment or a time in Cardinal baseball that stands out for you? And he said, I actually have reflected on this a lot. He said, people wouldn't think I have, but he said, I never had any more fun than my time in St. Louis. And he said, the one moment I think about all the time, 1982, the World Championship and the final out. He said, I remember Ozzie and I grabbing each other, hugging each other. He said, there's a picture that hangs in my office at home that I have of just he and I. And he said, that is the moment that and memory that I will never ever forget. Hugging Ozzie Smith. And Ozzie Smith, you may remember, back in 1982, and Willie was picked up from the Yankees for Bob Sykes in a great trade done by Whitey Herzog. Ozzie really took him in.
Sure did.
Lived together, roomed together, and at that time players did not have separate rooms on the road, so you had a roommate, and Ozzie wanted to make sure that Willie was taken care of, and the rest is history. As Beltran pops it foul. You played with Willie. Was he as good a teammate as it seemed from the outside?
And then some. Yeah, and I think you can't help but to have a thought of humility when you think about Willie McGee when you're around him for any stretch of time. In fact, we locked next to each other quite a bit. I was 49, he was 51, so there were years we were very close to each other, and I'd see all of his post-game interviews, and I'd have to get out of the way while everybody would talk to Willie, and which of course was just painful for him because he didn't want attention. He didn't want to.
A shy man.
He didn't want to be philosophical and really humble, and just sincerely humble. Not you know, I'm too good to talk to you. I'm just uncomfortable with it.
Into deep right center. McCutchen with room and makes the catch on the track. Willie McGee, some of his famous highlights throughout the years. One of our favorites, the switch hitter, the great speed, the running Redbirds of 1980. Boy, could he fly, and it was so much fun to watch him put a ball in the gap and wind up at third because his running style unique. There it is.
Ooh, you got a good view of the bat speed of Willie McGee, too. A batting champion. Not only did he run well, but he could really generate some bat speed. In fact, we used the same bat model also. And there was a time when I got a terrific bat order, the best wood there could be, nice thick grain, and Willie took them all. And Willie got a lot of hits with my bats.
So you're taking credit for Willie?
No.
That's what you're telling
I'm just glad my bats went to a good use.
So Rick's got his 51 jersey on. The fans do as well.
Had many people show me signed autographed bats from Willie McGee that had my name on them.
Is that right?
Oh yeah. They had 51 on the bottom on the handle or on the knob, and yet it's my bat. And they would say, "How? Why?"
Second walk issued by Locke.
Willie was also an outstanding defender too, Dan. We talked so much about his speed and kind of what he did with the bat too, but he could track him down in the gaps too.
One out runner at first, and David Freese looks at strike one. I had asked Willie if he was going to come back for this night. Typical Willie fashion. He said, I'm not sure what I have going on at that time, but knowing deep down, probably not, because Willie, as you said, truly is humble. You know, there's not a false bravado about that.
No.
He's a shy man, and he knows when he comes back into St. Louis, He is one of the most popular players that ever played here. And he's not in the Hall of Fame, won't be heading to the Hall of Fame, but among Cardinal fans, there is no doubt he is one of our favorites, and it's a great time of baseball when you think about Willie McGee and Whitey Herzog.
One of my memories of Willie is checking with him every spring training and seeing what was underneath the bill of his cap, because what Willie would do in the offseason, and he would decide it really with his family and others, what kind of numbers would he be shooting for. So he would, under the bill of his cap, he would have 320, 100 RBIs, 15 home runs, 80 stolen bases, and so it's not that he wasn't caring about what he was doing on the field. He was, and he was driven to be good. I mean, he worked hard at it, played hard all the time, but just didn't want to talk about it. That's where it became uncomfortable. And in fact, when we noticed that he had those numbers under his cap, he would try to hide them from us because he didn't want to appear as if he was bragging. But he was just focused on performance.
A walk to Yachty, and now 3-2 on David Freese.
Something about wearing the powder blue again, Dan. I love it.
I asked him, I said, what does the birds on the bat represent to you? And without hesitation, he said, blue collar. He said the town was blue collar. It was my kind of town. I was blue collar. He said, I love that place. Inside to David Freese. Very tight zone here tonight on both sides. Back-to-back walks and a chance here for Brock Peterson.
3 walks now for Locke. And really, when he has struggled, he seems to be a little upset with the strike zone. And when he's struggled, he's given up hits. In fact, when
he struggled, it's been with the walks and lack of control. And there's McGee and some of his career highlights. The 2 batting championships in '85 and '90, the MVP in '85.
So Locke having that conversation when he pitched against the Cardinals in a game against Adam Wainwright. He gave up 10 Cardinal hits in that game, so it wasn't about control that was a problem for him. That was on the 31st of July. These two went at it, and Locke ended up with a no decision in that game. Pirates ultimately won it, but he was not particularly sharp.
Runners at first and second. And a chance here for Brock Peterson. Thrust into a pennant race and a chance to do some damage. 125 average this season. No home runs, 2 RBIs. First ever big league action. One of the reasons why Brock Peterson was brought up originally, not just because he was hitting for power and putting up numbers, but what he could do off the bench, in particular against left-handed pitching. And with Craig out, Adams hits from the left side. Mike Matheny thought this might be the right time to give Brock Peterson a start.
Here's your opportunity.
Big gap in left center. 0-2. And if you're Jeff Locke, you're thinking, I have the rookie Peterson here, another rookie on deck that has been struggling clearly in Pete Kozma, and he can get out of this inning.
The rookie at the plate is older than he is, so he doesn't probably feel like a rookie in some ways, and plus a home run champion in AAA, so I'm sure he's going to be a little careful with him. And Peterson, so far, Dan, has not shown that he's been real comfortable in the pinch hitting role. There's his numbers this season against lefties and righties, but 1 for 11 as a pinch hitter, and that's not easy to do. He's been a everyday player his entire career in the minor leagues, putting up a lot of numbers every place he goes. Just hasn't gotten a shot. But if he can establish himself as a pinch hitter, he can create value.
1-2 pitch. Misses on the inside corner. 2-2.
Could have gotten that pitch too.
Rick, I thought last night was the loudest we had heard Busch Stadium this season, and with the crowd we have tonight, they are ready to erupt. There is a buzz in the air tonight here at Busch.
The only empty seats are folks going to get another beer.
2 balls and 2 strikes on Peterson.
Or hot dog.
And he hits it out of play.
Or ice cream.
We're trying to buy another Willie jersey from some guy that's in the concourse.
They're not taking mine.
I saw you had 6.
They'd have to rip it off me. I've got a lot of friends.
Couldn't call Willie yourself. Willie, come on.
He'd
Help me out
say,
here.
"Oh man." Oh, Rick. Oh, come on.
The Mets pulled foul. I know you've tried to get him down there for fantasy camp too.
We're getting close.
That would be the highlight.
Yeah, we've been close a couple of times. Ozzy's asked him, and that's such a great time. And there'll be a time when Willie's ready to come. Perfect gentleman, Willie McGee.
Two pitch to Peterson. Ooh, just missed again on the inside corner. Will Mike Matheny start the runners here? Be a dangerous move, not really knowing what may happen with Brock Peterson making contact and then the speed of Molina at second base.
I don't think I would. I think there's a little uncertainty about the strike zone too, which also could lead to a call third strike, and you don't want to strike him out, throw him out. So I think with the uncertainty, you just let him swing the bat.
The 3-2, and Peterson hits a high fly ball out to center. Molina will tag up and test McCutchen. Throw comes into third, way off line. Freese also tagging up from first to second, and 2 runners in scoring position.
Mistake by Andrew McCutchen. He just got to throw that ball to the cutoff man number 1 or to second base number 2, but not what he did. He's got to see that he can't get Yadier Molina, who sees that it's deep enough that he can tag. So he does his job, leaves at the right time, and then a rainbow throw from McCutchen. An odd throw from a guy that's really a smart defensive outfielder. But the reality is David Freese is tagging also. So when he sees that throw, David has no problem getting to second base. That's just basically a mental error by McCutchen.
Chance now for Pete Kozma. Wainwright on deck, and Kozma hits it to short and lines out to his counterpart Clint Barmas. Cardinals strand 2, and there's no score after 2 here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Hometown grocer. And the Cardinals, Fox Sports, and the state of Missouri teaming up to help you stop smoking. For more information, call the Quit line at 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A beautiful night here in St. Louis. Glad you're with us. That little cutie enjoying some baseball. And there's no score as we move to the top of the third.
Only thing more fun than September baseball is October baseball, but always love the weather in September and a little bit cooler usually, and something on the line, and you start to see the finish line a bit, and the playoff races become a little bit more clear. And the National League Central Division has been fun right out of the gate, and it doesn't seem like it's going to let up until that last couple of days of the season. Talk about tipping pitches with Adam Wainwright. There's the guy watching, Chris Carpenter.
He has not been standing there when the Cardinals are hitting, but when Wainwright is on the mound, he assumes that position inside the dugout. Under the watchful eye of Chris Carpenter goes Adam Wainwright here in the top of the third.
You always have a job to do.
Slowly hit Jeff Locke, and Freese makes the play.
Really learn that in baseball. There's something you can do that would be helpful to the team, even if it's just an encouraging word to a teammate that's struggling, maybe helping somebody who's tipping pitches. Always something to do. In fact, today about 3 o'clock, Dan, you were talking yesterday about teams needing to take infield a bit more, but at 3 o'clock today, Cardinals were taking infield. I didn't mean a full-on infield. A lot of things were going on at the same time. The middle infielders were working on plays at the bag. We had people at the plate working on bunting, and pitchers were throwing down the right field line. And one of the things we noticed, Jose Oquendo brought all the middle infielders to the second base bag, and they got a conversation from Chris Carpenter and Yadier Molina, which I thought was fascinating. I wasn't in on the conversation, but Chris Carpenter probably talking to the middle infielders about what he expects from players behind him, and a little bit about competition, I'm sure, but he's just given his take, and Yadier Molina gave his take, and it was Oquendo's session, but he used Carpenter and Molina to make some points, which I thought was terrific.
And here it is.
There's Carp on the right. Oquendo's doing the talking now, but he allowed Molina and Carpenter to have their say. A lot of young guys, a lot of young middle infielders still learning the game in that little group.
I may be in the minority, and this is Neil Walker. I think Chris Carpenter would be a very good coach. Now, we see him as the ultimate competitor and a guy that you wonder, does he have any patience? Would he have any patience to coach? I think if you got him out of the element of still being a player and having that fire still burning to pitch, if that was done and fully done, you know, you're retired, I do believe he would be a very, very good coach.
I agree 100% with what you said. I think those ifs are big ifs, because you've got to get some separation of time between when you play and when you coach. If you go right from one to the other, it's too painful, and you're not really, you're kind of still doing the other. And you know, your competition has to be others focused, and there's a maturity that comes with that to be a good coach. You know, your job is to help somebody else shine, and to be there to offer suggestions, guidance, coddle some, kick some. So you have to have a breadth of how to handle people too that requires that word patience you talked about.
Good tailing action on that pitch to Walker.
But Carp certainly has the knowledge, DNA. Question is, does he have the desire to do it?
I could see him though trying to deal with players, and it might be 100% of them out there that don't have that burning desire to win like he does, and then trying to find the level. Okay, this guy doesn't quite get it like I do, so how do I get to that person? And that'd be very tough.
The frustration meter, would have to be controlled a bit.
Good luck.
Well, I mean, it is a question, and he, if you want it bad enough though, and you see your job is to make a guy a little bit better, he's going to get some young pitcher that throws 98 miles an hour and is not very passionate about baseball, doesn't really understand how to be a professional, and Carp would have to have some patience with him.
We were talking about Bob Gibson. Bob Gibson was a pitching coach briefly. Did it with the Braves, did it here, and he talked about it. He said it was just beyond frustrating for him. And I kind of look at Chris Carpenter in the same way. Good pitch, tied him up, and a strikeout for Adam Wainwright. but still in uniform and still hoping to play possibly next year. One of the best, Chris Carpenter. Crowd goes wild. Regis Philbin and a cast of former athletes and journalists that will talk about things you won't hear on other shows. Sports Talk just got a lot more colorful. Crowd Goes Wild, weekdays at 4 on Fox Sports 1. Wainwright, Carpenter, Robinson here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Dan McLaughlin, Rick Horton, Jim Hayes with you. Just had highlights of Willie McGee up on the video board and prominently displayed. Willie hitting 2 home runs and taking one away in 1982 World Series. See Rob Gorman Thomas. Strike one on Adam Wainwright. Washington leading their game as Wainwright knocks it into left center field. They'll dig for 2. And the Cardinals have their first hit of the night off the bat of the pitcher, Adam Wainwright.
Wainwright doubled to lead off the 3rd inning in his last start against Matt Latos. This time it's the lefty Jeff Locke. Very good swing.
Ricky's a good athlete, as we've talked about. He was an all-state baseball and football player, kicker, wide receiver. But he can swing the bat, as we have seen. And you take a year off from Major League Baseball, not just pitching, but trying to help your cause as a hitter. It's tough to do.
Yeah, and I've always thought that in Wainwright's case, there was a little bit of tentativeness in his approach at the plate after coming back from the elbow problems, which is very, very natural. You know, swinging the bat requires you to really get extension, and there's some strain on your elbow that, you know, if it's not sound, it's tough to do well.
Matt Carpenter with runners in scoring position. Average at 400. As a team, the Cardinals at 328. And they are in first collectively as a team by a wide margin in Major League Baseball.
I'll take 9 Matt Carpenters, and you can take 9 of whoever you want, and I think I'll beat you.
Miguel Cabrera?
I think I'll still beat you, because Miguel Cabrera can't catch. And you put Cabrera at shortstop and second base and first base. I'm talking you got to play all 9 positions, including pitching. I think Carpenter, well, I don't know. I'd like Cabrera too. It'd be tough to pitch to 9 of him. Right?
Good luck.
All right. Like I said, national leaders.
1-1 pitch. Carpenter hits it foul.
All right, so who you got in the National League? 9 of them. They got to play every position. You know the defense matters.
I'm thinking.
You can see the steam coming out of your ears.
Give me 9 Yachties.
That's a good answer.
Got a pretty good catcher. I'm going to trust he can fire it from the mound. He can hit. Good glove.
Can play the infield.
Yep. I'll hide him out and right. Center may be a little tough. 1-2 pitch. Carpenter doesn't chase. He walked his first time up.
My team would have a lot of doubles. So would yours.
Yeah. They're 1-2 in doubles, and Carpenter's at 47 this year.
Yachty would get tired pitching to Carpenter because he'd be 3-2 every count. Imagine 9 guys working the count like Matt Carpenter.
Would wear you out.
Oh. Very selective.
2-2, and that's swung on and missed as Carpenter strikes out. Second strikeout for Locke. So Matt Carpenter can't advance Wainwright or drive him in. Shane Robinson struck out his first time up on a changeup. Numbers are astounding for the Cardinals. Bases empty. They hit just .235, 29th in Major League Baseball, but runners on or in scoring position, they are first. If you're wondering, the best ever with runners in scoring position, 2 teams hit .311. The 2007 Tigers and the '96 Rockies. Pre-Humidor. The best in St. Louis ever was a .299 average with runners in scoring position back in 1977. They will shatter that this year. It's another changeup and swung on and missed by Robinson. One pitch. Breaking ball in the dirt and kept in front by Martin. He was beat up last night, and we saw just how well he moves laterally at blocking the ball and keeping it in front.
Good athlete. He runs well. I think you made the point, Dan. We really talked about it all year, just how important an acquisition he's been for this Pirates staff. Really, the team as a whole. Because they've had talent the last few years, and they just haven't had just enough of the right pieces, and I think he was a pretty good piece to add.
The pieces that the Pirates have added, the big pieces, Morneau, Bird, John Buck. Some of these guys have been through postseason play. Morneau certainly has with Minnesota. Majority of these players have not. You wonder how that will play out. The 2-1 is hit to Pedro Alvarez. Looks back the runner. And Robinson is 0 for 2. Brings in Holiday.
Postseason's a different world. And if you're not used to it, not prepared for it, it can be a bit of an adjustment with all of the media attention that you're going to have. Of course, these players are pretty savvy to that in a way, but it is times 10, times 50. And you know that every little thing you do is just magnified and under the microscope. Again, it's a microscope they're used to too, but it's even more so. And that lack of experience sometimes shows itself in postseason.
Holiday hits it to the left side. Alvarez, what a play. He has 26 errors this year, but we're told he can really move and get around the bag, and shows us there. Nice play. And the Cardinals held off the board. uniform, home, road, or the alternate jerseys, which, by the way, the Cardinals have been, in a recent vote and study on ESPN, voted as the #1 jersey in all of sports. And the alternate jersey is what put them over the top. Cardinals president Bill DeWitt designed that, and a lot of work went into that, studying the history of the Cardinals when St. Louis was on the front. It had been decades since that had happened, 1930s. There's Mr. DeWitt and his son, Cardinal president Bill DeWitt, designed those uniforms, and you'll notice this year that the bird and the bat are much bigger. The style of the uniform, and at times we've seen the number on the front. Sometimes there's no number. The piping on the front.
The piping is what I like. I just think that makes everything stand out a bit, and it has this thought to me of being a little old school in some ways, and I mean old school like the 40s, but yet very current. And Adam Wainwright seems to pitch pretty well in it.
He likes it. 3-0. These Saturday home starts. He's gone the distance in those games as McCutchen hits it out to deep right field, and it one hops off the wall. McCutchen can fly and on his way to second base. Beltran very careful in how he played that, and it's a leadoff double. McCutchen is 2 for 2.
McCutchen hits the ball very well the other way, and has good speed to go along with it.
See speed like that, and you think of Willie McGee, and I think of Billy Hamilton and the impact that he has made for the Reds. 3 steals and has come around to score 3 runs. Here is Morneau. A lot of times base running, and I remember Lou Brock talking about this, rounding first base. Some McCutchen on top of the bag, this right foot. Others talk about the inside of the bag with your left foot to make the turn a little bit sharper if you can. With McCutchen's speed, I'm not sure it matters. He can fly. Here's a 1-0 pitch.
I think hitting the inside of the bag is better as well, just for pure balance. If you step on top of the bag, you have much more of an opportunity of slipping as you make that turn. That was one of the things that set Willie apart, was his turn. From going from first to third, we called it the lean. Willie had this ability to just kind of lean in towards the infield side when he was hitting that second base bag, and his feet were going so fast you weren't even sure he actually touched the base. But he had that direct. I mean, he's going directly to second, then he's going directly to third in a split second. There was no rounding it. It was just that really quick turn. I don't think I never saw anybody as fast first to third as Willie McGee.
No doubt. 3-1 on Morneau. Pitch number 51 from Wainwright. Breaking ball, and he walked him. So second walk issued by Adam Wainwright. Cardinals need a double play.
The excitement of Willie McGee. Again, the quick bat speed. And there's Willie flying, leaning, arms flailing.
Here's Marlon Byrd.
Willie had the ability to look terrible on a particular pitch. You'd throw a curveball in the dirt and he'd swing like he was 8 years old and never seen a curveball before. Then you throw the same pitch to him and he'd hit it up in the upper tank.
A lot of times you'd see him almost corkscrew himself into the ground with a swing.
That's the bad one I'm talking about.
Yep.
And if he fooled, he was just, I mean, almost comical.
Willie being Willie. Marlon Byrd has only grounded into 6 double plays this year. How about 7? Bobbled by Kozma, fires a strike to Brock Peterson, and there's an all-important double play.
Love the perseverance of Pete Kozma on this play. It could have been a disaster. Off the bat, you're thinking 2, then the quick little bobble, but he stays with it. He does not panic and gets a hold of the baseball, makes a good, strong throw. There's the bobble, doesn't panic, quiet hands. You have to stay quiet at that moment and then react. And very few poor throws all season long for Pete Kozma, and really very few errors in total.
That was the Plaza Tire Service replay, and now it's Pedro Alvarez. Lined out to left, first time up. Two outs and a runner at third. That's McCutchen. 0-1 pitch to Pedro Alvarez. Good breaking ball, 0-2. Wainwright has struck out 3 on the night. Going with another breaking ball. Here it comes. Got him to chase. It's a strikeout for Wainwright. Number 4 on the night. Due up for the Cardinals. Right fielder Carlos Beltran. No score midway through 4. Build your stadium. Make the decisions to guide your team to the World Series. Download MLB Ballpark Empire free today. Data and usage rates may apply. Adam Wainwright, 3 consecutive curveballs to Pedro Alvarez and strikes him out with McCutchen at third, and we are scoreless as Locke goes back to work.
Nice to see Adam confident in that signature pitch of his to just kind of go after it. I think he was pitching around Morneau. I think he felt like he could get a double play. He got it, then the strikeout. That, Dan, is pitching.
You bet. And really a big inning for Wainwright, maybe just to get over a hump here.
Yeah.
Dealing with big bats and 2 runners on, nobody out, and gets a double play and a strikeout. Here is Beltran.
I think one of the humps that he got over was the first inning too. We talked about the first inning problems that he had, and once he was able to strike out Morneau in that first inning and just stranded 1 Pirate, I think, you know, it's been sailing since then.
Beltran flied out to deep right center field on the track. Pitch count, number 54 on its way. Congratulations to Mizzou. They defeat Toledo today in college football. Also, Illinois over Cincinnati.
I was noticing that Virginia almost beat Oregon.
Well, they kept it close for the first 5 minutes or so.
59-10, if I'm reading that number correctly.
You're reading it correctly. Your Cavaliers took one on the chin.
They were too busy studying.
Here we go again. The Bacon Habanero Ranch Quarter Pounder is topped with white cheddar, thick cut applewood smoked bacon, tomato, leaf lettuce, and a spicy cool habanero ranch sauce, all on a bakery style bun. Mouth-watering for a reason, only at McDonald's. Four walks issued by Locke, and now it's Yadier Molina. Yadi is going to be in line for the dirtiest helmet of the year. I don't remember him doing that in years past, but this season that pine tar is built up on Yadi's helmet.
Now, is that officially called the Manny Ramirez Award?
Thinking Manny or Craig Biggio.
Yes.
I know Hanley Ramirez's helmet for LA this year is nasty. Not the back, but the front.
Well, you've got the Cy Young.
Pine tar.
Yeah, you got the Cy Young for somebody who is terrific at one particular thing. That's pitching. There, Yachty showing off again, and yep, that's that'd be a nightmare to clean, wouldn't it?
I don't know if you could. Here's an 0-1 pitch.
Steve Klein like.
That was just gross. I mean, this is at least you could tolerate the pine tar in a helmet, but the sweat and the muck and the dirt and the grime in the helmet or the hat of Steve Klein was something we had never seen before.
And if you know Steve Klein, the hat fit the man. He was a crazy dude, still is, and he is coming to the fantasy camp this year, and the people that come to camp absolutely love Steve Klein. Tremendous sense of humor.
I know you said the hat fits the man. I would think he's more dirty than the hat.
Maybe.
In many ways.
Maybe.
He was one of our favorites, wasn't he? We talk about him a lot, but had a chance to get to know him quite well on and off the field, and a lot of fun to be around. We'll just leave it at that. Here's a 1-2 pitch.
Watching you and Al do a game, and Jimmy Rollins was a rookie and hit a home run off of Steve Klein, and Steve Klein walked all the way around the bases screaming at him, and I became a Steve Klein fan immediately because Rollins had kind of waited in the box, and Steve thought he was showing him up or thought he'd said something, and so he was just screaming at him, being a rookie. You don't get to watch home, and so I fell in love with him right away. Now, Steve later said he felt bad about that because Rollins really didn't do what he thought he'd done.
Right.
And he apologized to Rollins.
In the air to right, slicing fair. Yachty on his way to second. Beltran is held up at third. Runners at second and third, and nobody out for the Cardinals.
$45,000 fans sure do make a lot of noise.
I think Yachty was a little surprised that Beltran didn't score on this. No need to take a chance with David Freese coming up, but it's going to look here at Beltran. Running hard.
With nobody out, you don't want to make the first out at home. Yes, you've got the bottom of the order up, but you got to believe somebody's going to be able to drive them in, even if their pocket is sticking out in the back.
Change up and Freeze out in front. Walked his first time up.
Yeah.
Walked the first time. Got 2 quick strikes on Freese. Then eventually he was able to draw a walk. Is that a fine?
Not the look David's looking for. But the swing is much more important.
0-1 pitch. Freese hits it out to left. It's deep, and the catch is made on the run by Tabata. Beltran tags up. Freese drives in the first run of the night. 1-0 St. Louis.
We've seen David Freese start to swing the bat at times with a little more authority. He had a home run on the road trip, a bomb to center field, and this particular pitch really got the head out, drove it to left. I like to see that. Yachty had to make a decision of whether he had enough time to tag. I think he made the right choice and went halfway.
Most teams will shade Freese to right field, and that catch was made near the corner in left. Good play by Tabata. Now it's Peterson with Molina as a runner at second base, and a breaking ball and strike 1.
Here's the quick hands, turns on it, squares it up. Good at bat for David Freese. Very good at bat.
Here's an 0-1 pitch to Peterson. And the ball scoots away. Yachty trots on over to third. That's a big run down there at third now with just 1 down.
I believe we've seen about 7 wild pitches in the last 4 games. Here's another one. Breaking pitch is spinning one way and it bounces the other way. Think about it like a Super Ball, how that works. The spin's going one way, then it does a little counter bounce. Catchers are very aware of that reality, but he wasn't able to smother it. They still make Super Balls? You know what I'm talking about? Those
oh yeah, for sure.
Haven't owned one in a while.
Good changeup. Well, you haven't been raising 4 kids ever. 2.
Yeah, but not lately. Opportunity.
Peterson, a swing and a miss with the infield drawn in. Big strikeout for Locke. Out number 2. Folks, you've witnessed baseball history with John Jay walking up to bat with 6 is a serious number. And if the Cardinals score 6 runs, you can celebrate this historic moment tomorrow by getting a 50-cent any size drink at your nearest On the Run. Here is Pete Kozma, lined out to short, showing bunt. Pulls it back for ball 1. Here's a 1-1 pitch. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Mentioned earlier, Washington leading their game. That's in the top of the 5th. Cardinals still have games left with the Nationals. Those could still be very important. You just don't know yet. They're hanging around. And that's pulled fair. Cosmo hustling. Alvarez from his knees, not in time. A two-out RBI base hit for Pete Kozma. He picks up Brock Peterson. Nicely done by Kozma. And a two-run lead for the Cardinals here in the bottom of the fourth.
A huge pickup for Pete Kozma and the Cardinals here in the fourth inning. He doesn't hit it hard, but boy, was that perfectly placed. The backhand by Alvarez. He's been good with the leather, but no way from his knees or otherwise is he going to throw out Pete Kozma, who runs well. And boy, he struggled to get hits. Speed can help, but very, very happy for Pete Kozma.
Wainwright, first time up, doubled back in the third, and then left stranded. Here's an 0-1 pitch. Strike two on Adam. That's pulled foul. Inning started with a walk to Beltran. Molina the double. In the corner and right. Freeze the sac fly RBI. Strikeout of Peterson. Infield RBI hit by Kozma. Inning ends with a strikeout of Adam Wainwright. Two strikeouts in the inning. Four in the night for Jeff Locke. But Pete Kozma, infield hit, pulled down the third base line, and he beats it out. That scores Yachty. 2-0 St. Louis. FoxSportsMidwest.com. You can see that right now on the website, FoxSportsMidwest.com. The complete Rams pre- and post-game coverage from the Dome tomorrow. Big crowd, over 45,000. For Willie McGee jersey giveaway. It's 7, 8, and 9 in the lineup for the Pirates, and the Cardinals have a 2-run lead. It's Russell Martin, Clint Barmas, and Jeff Locke for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Since the start of divisional play, that began back in 1994, St. Louis has won 7 titles, no titles for Pittsburgh. And the Cardinals, those 19 seasons, have been above 500 14 different times. We know the Pirates will finish at least 500 this year, and you would think above 500, barring a historic losing skid, and that won't happen.
I think we've known for at least, I would say, 3 weeks that was not going to happen. I think when we saw them, Dan, the time before on the road trip, we saw that this team was a little bit different than the teams that collapsed. There's the numbers you're talking about, 500 plus seasons in the NL Central during those 19 years. The Cardinals, again, used to it. Pirates may run a string in the other direction if they keep developing the way they are with their pitching, good young pitching. They might start a string of winning seasons.
Here's an 0-2 pitch. Another curveball, and that curveball has been very good tonight. A little sharper than we've seen in the previous 2 starts.
And he's a little bit more aggressive, I think, just in general in the strike zone. A good break to it. Did stay on the inner half, however, but Wainwright has the couple of walks, but I think his control's been good.
Nice play by the 6'7" Adam Wainwright. Needed every bit of that in that play.
The walks can be deceiving. I don't think he had any intention of pitching to Morneau in the 4th inning, so that's a walk, but I'm not sure that's fair to count it as one. Pitch count at 60. You said he was a really good athlete. Just to show it off right there. We also know he's a good golfer. I've actually only seen him play once. Have you played golf with Adam?
I have not.
I saw him hit a 7-iron about 196, and I decided I'm never going to play with him.
Did he hit it straight?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Played with Darryl Kyle, and Kyle was a guy that could absolutely crush the golf ball. Used to play with Tony Womack a lot. A fly ball into right. Beltran is over. And one of our favorites, every day we played on the road. Now that he's no longer playing, I can say this, whether he was starting or not.
Okay.
And you'll understand why he would play golf on days he was starting once I say who it is. His time here in St. Louis, too short.
Okay.
The one and only Garrett Stevenson.
And you played golf every day with him?
Every day. So another one of my favorites was Mike Matthews.
A good player.
Mike could play. I was more of a shrink, I think, for Garrett than a golf partner.
I'm not really sure who was on the couch.
We really helped each other.
Okay. That's a little more like it. I mean, 2 hits given up by Adam Wainwright. Doesn't want to be behind the pitcher 3-0. He's got a little self-talk going on right here. And
3-0 pitch to Locke. Right down the middle, 3-1. Now you'll see the starters go out in the days that they are not pitching. And they'll get together and play a lot of golf. 3-2. Some of the relievers will do that. If these guys get to the ballpark so early, you know, they need their rest. They need to, a lot of times, sleep in. And all of a sudden you wake up, have breakfast, time to get to the park.
And I'm not going to be specific about this comment, but you'll get my drift. The players are at the ballpark so often on the road, they're not doing some of the other things they used to do either. I mean, I find players much more homebodies. They're not kind of as wild. read into that whatever you want, but I think they understand the commitment that they've made to be a major league player and what it takes to compete now against everybody else who's lifting and working and at the ballpark and studying and watching video. I mean, the bar is really high right now in terms of the physical expectations and demands, and these guys really take care of themselves, and I think it's a good thing.
3-2 pitch again, and Locke hits a fly ball out to center. Shane Robinson is there and puts it away. 1-2-3 inning for Adam Wainwright. Second time he's done that this evening. Birds on top. Inches and under. With a game ticket, you'll get a free Six Flags ticket. Also, Prairie Farms Ice Cream Sunday. Get here early for the ice cream, and then after the game you can stay and run the bases on the field. That is next Sunday, week from tomorrow. Get your tickets, cardinals.com/promotions. And after Sunday, Cardinals head out to their final road trip of the season through Colorado and Milwaukee. And that'll be 4 games with the Rockies, 3 with Milwaukee, and then back home to wrap it up. On paper, the schedule is favorable for St. Louis with a ton of home games and also teams that are out of the race or sub 500.
Well, I think this road trip that we were just on and the first couple of games of this homestand, and there's certainly a lot more to be played, but it just shows you the difference in the overall play of a team, the mood, the expectations of what might happen over the next couple of weeks. I mean, I think a lot of us around the team felt pretty down 3 or 4 days ago. Kind of woe is me, where's this team headed? And you come home, you have a big outburst like they had yesterday with the 7-run inning and then good pitching from Wainwright. You start to feel good just like that.
And hit by the pitch, it's Carpenter. And so he is on base for the second time tonight. Carpenter has walked. He struck out on a curveball back in the 3rd and trying to hang there on that pitch, and he's hit by it. As Greg Hawk was at the top step, you see him there. Chris Conroy, also part of the Cardinals medical team.
Just a sinking fastball moves in on Carpenter, and it hits him in the knee. Ouch.
Shane Robinson is 0 for 2. Struck out on a changeup and also grounded out to 3rd.
Seems to me there was a time when players started wearing all of the protective gear and they lost the fear of getting hit. And even though they don't wear that any longer, they've maintained that lack of fear. And in some cases, they almost don't mind being hit. Chu has been hit 23 times for Cincinnati. That last pitch there I mean, I'm not saying Carpenter let it hit him, but he stayed in there a very long time on it. And he didn't just jump out of the way as players would have in the past.
Byproduct of the armor that these guys wear. Pitchers know they can't go inside as much, and I think that trend began as well. I mean, Craig Biggio, when he was playing, had the huge arm pad on his elbow and invited a pitcher to throw inside, and he would just turn his left shoulder in, elbow sticking out slightly, and gets hit by a pitch. Bonds was the same way.
Don Baylor was like that too, but the armor that he had was actually him.
Ron Hunt the same way. Ron Hunt, who calls the St. Louis area home. I played for Ron Hunt.
Did you?
I did. I know you'll find this shocking. He suspended
Try me.
He suspended me.
Oh.
Yeah, there was this curfew issue. You know, I mean, I was a young guy, Rick. What do you expect?
I am not going to interrogate you on this.
Thank you.
On the air.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. Instead, another check on Carpenter.
Carpenter is either trying to disrupt Locke or he is thinking about going. He's done it a number of times in his 2 at-bats.
Broken bat, hit into the hole. It's short, and the throw is wide. Robinson on his way to second. Carpenter to third. He'll stop there. The error on Barmes is 11th this season.
That is a huge break in this game. Fielder's choice and an E6 on Barmes. Cardinals threatening for more here in the 5th inning. Locke got the ground ball that he wanted, and Barmes on the backhand just loses control of that ball. It's like it slipped out of his hands way past Walker, and this is a big opportunity for St. Louis. And as you mentioned earlier, Dan, this crowd just wants to erupt. They want to engage. It's a huge crowd, a lot of energy here. First place on the line.
Little things that you have to do to keep first place if you're the Pirates. Well, you've seen a hit batter, now the air. Here's Holliday, and the big bat's coming up. Holliday, Beltran, Molina due up. The second half has been a different story for Matt Holliday, our BJC Healthcare difference maker. Already a 2-run lead for the Cardinals. Runners at second and third, nobody out. In the dirt and blocked very nicely there by Russell Martin. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Locke still a very young left-hander. See how he responds to a hit by pitch, which is about as frustrating as it can be from a pitcher's point of view. And you get a free pass that way, and the hitter lets it hit him, and he's aboard at first base. Then an error behind you, and yet he's got stress to deal with. How will he respond?
One and 2 on Holliday. That changeup has been very good at times for Locke tonight. Will he go to it here? Fastball at 92. Did Carpenter touch second base? He did. Plaza Tire Service replay.
He kicked it with that leg that he just got hit on.
Yeah. Nifty footwork there.
Probably didn't make the knee feel any better.
No. 1 and 2 the count. The next to Holliday. Foul ball. The last 7 to 10 days, I can't remember Matt Holliday hitting so many balls off his foot or the instep that he has here recently.
He's also hit a number of balls very hard recently, including a line drive 107 miles an hour in a recent at bat. He doesn't get cheated, does he?
Not at all. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 2 runners on. Holiday puts it in play. Ground ball to short. Barmes over to first, and Matt Holliday makes it a 3-run St. Louis lead. RBI number 78. Nothing to cheer about if you're a Pirate fan.
Pitch down in the zone. Good situational hitting for Holiday. Just put the ball in play. All he's got to do is hit it in the middle infield, and tough pitch for him to drive. You could see that Matt Holliday was actually happy with himself, running down the line clapping, because he knew that he did the job. He actually not only scored Carpenter but got Robinson to third.
Infield in. Here's Beltran, and a swing and a miss. Carlos flied out to deep right center field on the track back in the 2nd inning, and walked and scored in the 4th. Now Jeff Locke has to look in the mirror, though, when you look at how 2 of the runs have scored. One was a walk that came around to score. The other one, the hit batsman. Grounder. Alvarez play at the plate. Throw is wide, and the tag is there. Robinson didn't slide. Martin spun around, and the tag apparently was there.
Mike Matheny is arguing. Robinson doesn't believe it. Robinson most certainly should have slid. Wasn't sure which side of the plate to go to, and he's safe. Not even close, really. That's a missed call. Tags him. I think the foot was on the base already from the first angle that we saw. I think a slide would have made it a moot point. One more look on the plate, and the tag very close.
Unless he just nicked the front of the left foot as he spun around, but it's very tough to tell.
First angle he looked safe. Second angle he looked more out. Third angle inconclusive. But I do believe that Robinson was thinking he was going to be going to the infield side of home, and was surprised when the catcher took the throw on that side, so he tried to switch the other way, and maybe that's why he couldn't slide. He was planning on sliding to the front of the base because the ball was in foul territory.
And that's taken for a strike, a little bit low. And a ground ball that slowly hit to third. Alvarez makes the play. Again, another look. 3-0 St. Louis. Southern Illinois, presented by Southeast Health on Saturday, September 21st. And tickets are available at cardinals.com/football. So be a part of history in football here in St. Louis at Busch Stadium. Adam Wainwright back to looking like, well, Adam Wainwright. Been very good tonight.
Pitch count good, 70 through 5 innings. Command has been good. Allowed only 2 hits. He's walked 2, again 1 semi-intentionally. And perhaps a sigh of relief in Cardinal Nation over Adam Wainwright being sharp tonight.
You bet. As Tabata starts play off here in the 6th, looking at ball 1.
More work to do, but I think regardless, you could say your worst fears about Adam Wainwright you can put to rest.
What has stood out about his performance tonight that you liked?
Well, I think he, again, has had the command. Breaking ball's been better. Hasn't made mistakes in the middle of the zone. I think when he gets in trouble, he makes mistakes location-wise. There's a good, sharp breaking ball down and away, 73 miles an hour. And he threw that 2-0. This is the confidence he has with that breaking ball. The 2-0 he can paint. And it's sharp.
Here's a 2-1. And that's out of a hit out of play.
And that was a sharp cutter. That 2 perfectly located.
A 2-2 on its way. In on the hands of Tabata. Not sure that's where Yadi wanted it, but good result, tying him up.
We mentioned earlier the Pirate hitters that hit Wainwright well. Tabata, one of them. McCutchen, Martin, Barmas, Walker, all 368 or above. And those guys that I just mentioned, other than McCutchen, are 0 for 7 against Wainwright tonight. McCutchen 2 for 2.
Yep. Let's see what Yadi wants here. A 2-2 pitch. Molina thought he had strike 3.
That is the exact pitch that has been in question all night. And that, in fact, is even more of a strike. That has the whole strike zone. Locke has not gotten that pitch either.
The 3-2, a little jam shot into shallow right. Going out, Carpenter. 1 away. The Charter high-speed pitch. Locke has hit 93. Wainwright 93. It's not the Wainwright that we used to see at 95 to 96. But over time, Adam has really become a smart pitcher and developing that cutter, which has improved every year. He's always had the good breaking ball. His delivery has changed. The way he holds his curveball over the years has changed. He's told me it's all about feel, deception, anything he can to disrupt that timing of a hitter. Neil Walker has grounded out to short and also struck out. Sometimes you'll see the index finger up on the breaking ball. There it was there. 1 ball, 1 strike. Adam with a pair of walks tonight. And he has struck out 4. Pitched out of a jam in the 4th. That to me was when I felt, okay, this is Adam Wainwright that we've seen. Leadoff double. Then the walk to Morneau. He had runners at first and second, nobody out. Got the double play off the bat of Bird. And then 3 consecutive curveballs to strike out Pedro Alvarez. 2-2.
It's been a negative trend in some of the Cardinals' starting pitching woes is not being able to make pitches with guys on base and allowing big runs. And Wainwright had some of that in those last 2 starts, but not tonight so far.
Gets him to reach. He'll take it himself. Let's revisit Rick Horton's keys to the game.
Well, the veteran adjusting better, and I think Wainwright certainly has done a great job of adjusting, although I would say Jeff Locke has been good as well. So we're going to go ahead and check that one, that Wainwright has made the good adjustment. But as far as RISP is concerned, the Cardinals are just 1 for 9. So we're going to give it a sideways line, but maybe even an X there, as the Cardinals are not getting hits with runners in scoring position, but they did get an RBI ground out, which is not as good, but not bad. A good Matt Holliday at bat produced a RBI with a runner in scoring position. So the Cardinals did pick up 3 in the last 2 innings. Not a comfortable lead by any stretch after watching last night's game.
2 outs, nobody on. Yeah, last couple of innings, painful to put away for the Cardinals.
Dan, I left you to go to the post game, and then I felt bad for you. Like I abandoned you.
I don't believe it. You feeling bad for me?
I did.
I appreciate that, Rick.
Little sympathy.
Uh-huh.
You know,
where's Horton? Get him back here.
I thought it was maybe one of those things like the players, you know, you don't pack the bat bag till the game's over. You know, that superstition.
Absolutely.
Never, you know, even if you're in Little League and your team's winning by 8, it's the bottom of the inning. Don't start packing things up in expectation to win. That's always considered to be taboo.
And you had done that with your
I did it.
Notebook.
I did it with my notebook. I packed my notebook.
Got him on the outside corner. Strikeout of McCutchen. 5 tonight for Adam Wainwright. Cardinals coming your way at 1. Pre-game show at 12:30. They'll go to the bullpen. Jinmir Gomez is into the ball game. Plenty of choices. The Chevy called to the pen. Gomez is in. A lot of folks around the Pirates felt that Gomez should have gotten the start for Chris Johnson last Sunday, and instead it went to Johnson instead of Gomez.
Been a starter in the minor leagues, and of course a lot of the bullpen guys for Pittsburgh were former starters, and he's one of many having a good season out in that bullpen. Cardinals got to him once in Pittsburgh and got to it big. But it'll be interesting in September how the contending managers use their bullpens. A lot of toys in the bullpen, 11 pitchers in each bullpen, and you're going to tend to want to go to them more quickly. And at some point, you're going to have to kind of start thinking about setting up your staff for October success. And right now, you're trying to win the division. That's plan A. But when you get to the last, say, week to 10 days, you're going to have to start thinking beyond with some of the possibilities that might exist that first week of postseason.
I don't know how Dusty Baker, with his roster, would keep the speedster Billy Hamilton off of it, as that's taken for his strike. They also have question marks with Johnny Cueto, eligible to return, work out of their pen. He could be a weapon. Sean Marshall. Here's David Freese, who lined out to deep left field to drive in a run last time up. And Freese hits it out to center. McCutchen back, looks up, and goodbye. David Freese. He's got that pop back in his bat. It's a solo shot. That's his 8th of the season. He's starting to come alive. This is his time of year.
No doubt. It couldn't come at a better time with Alan Craig hurt. They have another right-handed bat with some power, and David Freese has been swinging with authority over the last 3 or 4 games, and this one just kept carrying. That's kind of vintage David Freese. He has really terrific power. Ball carries when he makes contact. Off the bat, I wasn't sure if that was going out, and not only did it go out, it went way out.
That landed in a spot eerily similar to a pretty famous home run that he hit.
He knows the area.
The grassy knoll. The David Freese Hill. Here is Matt Adams. Adams pinch hitting here for Brock Peterson. The Hyundai replay.
It's a breaking ball, bit of a hanger. But even though he hangs it, you got to do something with it. I think he knew right when he hit it that he centered it pretty well.
His other home run the other day was to center field as Adams hits it foul. Good for David Freese. Now with 8 home runs, 2 RBIs tonight, 53 on the year, and the shift is on for Matt Adams. A 2-2. The Cardinals win tonight. The Central will have 3 teams separated by a game and a half. Redbirds on top 4-0 here in game 2. 3-2 pitch. And a strikeout of Matt Adams. A look at our AT Twitter poll, which is your favorite current Cardinals uniform. How about that? The alternate jersey, 53%. Can't go wrong with,
not surprised,
any one of those. St. Louis on the front, the Birds on the bat. Slow roller, Cosma trying to beat it out as an infield hit tonight. Grounds back to Gomez, and there's 2 outs.
Just amazing how much better the Cardinals look at home right now at this point in the season. There was a time, Dan, early in the season, really midway through, on June 7th, in fact, the Cardinals were 20-9 on the road at that time. 20-9. So since then, St. Louis is 19-26, 7 games under 500, including a couple of rough road trips. But boy, do they play well at home.
Wainwright rounds out, but some damage done in this inning thanks to David Freese, the postseason hero of 2011. Parks one in just about the same spot. That famous home run of Game 6 of 2011. He's allowed just 2 base hits in our Head and Shoulders whiff package.
Wainwright has had the good curveball today, and that is what has been vintage Adam Wainwright over the years. 5 strikeouts here tonight, and the breaking ball has been central. There's one on a fastball at the knees, and I wonder if Mr. McCutchen was looking for that curveball on that particular pitch.
I've said this a lot this year, but what a difference a couple of nights can make. This team couldn't buy a hit on the road, and tonight only 4 hits, but they made them count. Just a different feel around this team. Back at home, the pitching has come together. Last night, Joe Kelly picked up another win. Rick, in 10 starts since July 12th, Joe Kelly is 8-0 with a 1.70 ERA. As Justin Morneau looks at a breaking ball in the dirt. So in that time, leads the league in wins, and Kelly is 3rd in ERA, 1.70.
Phrase is not used quite as often as it used to be, but there used to be a term for a pitcher that would kind of turn things around, and they would always call him a stopper. And then for a while, you'd use the stopper to talk about your closer. You might call him a stopper, but the stopper at one point was that starting pitcher that would absolutely change momentum, and you could count on them to stop a losing streak and to get the team going again. Right now, that's Joe Kelly, and there's a lot of starts left between now and the end of the season. I wouldn't say a lot, but I guess 4 probably for Joe Kelly. So
4.
that can be an eternity. But you know, if you had to say it right now, if the Cardinals were division leaders, let's start with that if. And if they're going to start game 1 and game 2, who's your number 1 starter? Who's your number 2 starter? Who's your number 3 starter? In my mind, number 1 right now is Adam Wainwright. Number 2 just might be Joe Kelly.
The breaking ball and a strikeout for Wainwright. 6 tonight for Adam. What's on tap brought to you by Budweiser. The exciting young right-hander out of Texas A&M, Michael Waka. Looked very good in his last outing, which was cut short in a pitch count of 80. Like to see him go deeper into the game tomorrow. We may see that. Budweiser, what's on tap? So 6 Ks tonight for Adam Wainwright, and he is dealing.
And Waka's watching him deal. And don't underestimate the value of that. Having a young pitcher see somebody else do well against a team you're going to face.
Rick, 4 of the 6 strikeouts have been against Morneau, Bird, and Alvarez. So he's really controlled the middle of this lineup. He's had issues with McCutchen, who has the only 2 hits tonight.
Bird and Alvarez both strike out a ton. They can hurt you, but they also strike out a lot. And when Marte is playing, he is the same. So you could have 3 guys in your lineup who are 150 a year strikeout guys.
Breaking ball, and he strikes out Bird. 7 tonight.
He threw him fastballs early in the count. The tight spin. Downward break. When it's right, it's unhittable.
It was 3 consecutive curveballs to Pedro Alvarez in his previous at bat. So let's see how they want to approach Alvarez here. I wouldn't think, Rick, that Wainwright would get a chance to finish this game off, and you see what he's done on that curveball, 135.
Well, I've said many times I'm not a fan of this particular stat because it is really just what you do on the balls you put in play. You could hit 300 off of a changeup, but you could swing and miss at 60 of them. And that stat would say that you're good at hitting changeups, which is not true. I want to know what he does against not balls that are put in play, but what every changeup that you throw him, he does on.
Crowd coming alive on this 0-2 pitch. It's in the dirt. This could be the final batter that Wainwright sees, because his pitch count is at 99, and a lot of attention has been made of the last time he went the distance. It was 128. Then he had the 2 back-to-back outings that were not strong, but he says he feels strong.
But oh, by the way, you got 6 guys in your bullpen that throw 100 miles an hour.
Exactly. So why push him this late in the season? The 1-2. Oh yeah, called, 3rd strike. Strikes out the side here in the 7th. 8 tonight for Adam Wainwright, and they're on their feet, loving it here in Busch. A photo day is coming up a week from today. Get here early to the ballpark. Bring your cameras. You'll be allowed on the field. First come, first serve. Cardinals.com/promotions. And they're showing our military up on the video board, and a standing ovation for them. The Cardinals, their 24th sellout this season. And our crowd tonight just announced as well, 45,110. $45,110. And Wainwright is getting the glad hand from many of his teammates, which would indicate his night is through. Rosenthal now has just picked up a baseball and just started to throw. So here is Matt Carpenter. Second inning of work for Gomez. And that pitch is taken high. Carpenter tonight has walked. He's been hit by a pitch and struck out on a curveball.
Got some indications by what we saw in that last inning that Adam Wainwright could continue. But why would you not want to confirm a good outing for him after 2 rough outings? I think that would trump it as far as I'm concerned. I just go over and hug him too and tell him he's done.
When did the hug start in baseball?
There's no hugging in baseball.
Get over here, big fella.
I'm not hugging you. I'm sorry. Hey, Cardinals win the World Series, I'll hug you during the parade. How's that?
Well, you and I were on the parade last time.
Yes, we were. I don't remember hugging you.
We definitely didn't hug. I would have remembered that.
And that, Dan, is an unbelievable moment, those parades.
I have a photo when the parade came through Busch Stadium. I tried to Photoshop you out of it, and I can't. However, 2-2. And Carpenter hits a fly ball to McCutcheon. I have 4 children. And my 2 oldest, I said, you're going to come with me. And my wife said, oh, and my little girl at that time was 4. So that's a long time to be down here, about 7-8 hours. And she said, oh, man, she won't make it. My 6-year-old boy was eating it up. He thought it was the greatest thing ever. I said, I don't care. They're coming down with me. It's a moment they'll never forget. And so there's a picture of us on the back of a convertible, and you're in front of my son, and my son is waving to the crowd as if he is the next elected president. I love it.
Hey, he might be at some point.
You never know. So maybe he's getting some practice. But it's just a great shot, great memory. As Robinson grounds out to short. Still can't figure out how to get you out of that photo, but there's still time.
Big Sharpie, magic marker, something.
Just cut you right out of it with scissors. As Holiday pops it foul.
How about Adam Wainwright? 7 innings, 2 hits, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. Perfect bounce back game for the Cardinals ace. Oh.
Oh-2 pitch. I'm sure for Adam Wainwright, a complete sense of relief. Now, he'll tell you he's one of the most confident guys, and not out of cockiness, but just confident in his abilities.
Yeah.
But still, not to say that doubt creeps in, but when you get knocked around like that 2 straight games, you wonder what's going on here. And now he comes out against the first place team and is throwing up zeros.
Remember that moment where he cheered, or you had a chance to interview him after the folks were cheering for a shutout that he threw after his injury, and he had tears in his eyes, and I think he was overcoming some of those little doubts that maybe you're talking about of, will I be will I be great again? And you know, you're throwing a shutout in the big leagues. I mean, you're upper 1/10 of 1% of pitchers on the planet if you can do that. And he wasn't sure he could get back to that point again. And I think that was a big moment for him. And smaller way, but maybe this is a nice moment for him here to have 7 solid innings.
3-2. Remember how Wainwright started that season too, coming off of Tommy John. He started the home opener last year against Chicago and was knocked all over the place. And there are a couple outings not quite as bad as he just had, but not Adam Wainwright like. And that's ball 4 to Holiday. He actually went to Lance Berkman and said, "What are you seeing with what I'm doing? I can't figure this out. I feel great. I feel like I'm 100%. And Wainwright, you know, in typical Wainwright fashion, wanted to listen to what a veteran had to say. And never forget it. Berkman told me the story, and Berkman said, "Look, you're fine. Remember who you are. You're Adam Wainwright." And it's a conversation that Adam said to me that it still sticks with him even now. So when times get rough, remember, you're Adam Wainwright.
There's confidence in that, not arrogance like you say, but confidence. And again, just knowing your abilities and letting them loose, not doubting them. You doubt your abilities at this level, somebody's going to see it in your eyes and they're going to capitalize on it.
Shift is on for Beltran. He's slicing one down the left field line, and the catch is made. Up against the side wall, the play is made. Tabata. We have played 7. The Cardinals will go to their bullpen when we come back. Let's go to our studio. Bommarito Sports Update with Pat Paris. Chevy called to the pen. Trevor Rosenthal is into the ball game. This sets up how Mike Matheny would love to have it play out from here on out. Rosenthal 8th inning. Mejica is your closer in the 9th. Segrist in the 7th. As John Jay comes into the ball game for the first time, he's in center, and then shifting to left is Shane Robinson.
Rosenthal definitely has that 8th inning stuff. He could be a closer, and I think someday will be.
Good tight breaking ball there.
One of the things they found from him is he has the ability to use his breaking ball and his changeup out of the pen, which I think for a guy coming in clutch situations, you have to have the confidence that you can throw that pitch for a strike. A lot of guys will just pump fastballs, especially if you throw 95, but you still have to pitch. Now, there's an old school thought, don't get beat with your second best pitch. When you throw 95, why would you throw something else? Well, you have to. You have to try to at least set pitches up, and you're not setting them up if you're just throwing one after another.
Here's a 1-2. Fastball misses outside. I know you have felt at times he gets a little rushed.
Yeah.
This is Russell Martin at the plate.
I saw it in that last pitch. You saw it too. The 1-2, he got a little bit ahead of himself with his body. Arm drags just a little bit. No drag in there. Look.
That's now 5 consecutive strikeouts. Last 4 by Wainwright. Struck out the side in the 7th, the final out in the 6th, and the first here in the 8th. Wainwright this season, Saturdays at home.
I just have an announcement in from the Cardinals that they're going to play, if they get in the playoffs, they're going to play all the games at home, and they're going to play them all on Saturday.
That's amazing. In the alternate jerseys.
Well, yeah, just play. Now, we may have to play till December to get all the games in.
I like it.
And Wainwright's pitching them all.
Harrison, the pinch hitter, homered last night. Pinch hitting here for Barmes.
We joked on the radio side about a week or so ago about the fact that they, one of these days, are going to actually have stats for how guys do with full moons. Because there's stats on everything. How you do on Saturdays, how you do after having bacon and eggs for breakfast. And we got a note from the Cardinals PR staff, Chris Tuno, that the A-ball team actually tracked that, how guys did with certain moon phases, and actually had those stats.
Be called the Mike Shannon stat.
The moon man.
That's right.
So there's a stat for everything.
1-2 here on Harrison. Cardinals have such a weapon in their bullpen, and a strength of this team is their bullpen. Rosenthal, Axford, Martinez, Freeman, Segrist, all throwing upper 90s. Adams puts it away for out number 2.
They're pitching upper 90s.
There's a difference.
There's no doubt there's a difference. You can throw upper 90s. There are guys in AAA throwing upper 90s that might not get out of AAA. Michael Clado throws upper 90s. Victor Marte throws upper 90s. And we've seen both of those guys, not to pick on them, but they've struggled at the big league level because of command. Great stuff.
Here is Snyder as a pinch hitter for Gomez. That was just hit out of the catcher's glove.
Remember the name Rudy Sinez?
Absolutely.
Played with him in Double-A. He was on the way up, and I was on the way down. He was breaking 100 in Double-A. And he was pitching one game, and they had the gun on him, and everybody was oohing and on. He gave up like 4 hits in a row. And everybody's turning to me, and they're saying, look how hard he's throwing. And I said, look how many guys are getting on base. I mean, at some point, doesn't that matter? And Rudy finally figured it out after a while. He got a curveball, got some time in the big leagues. But, I mean, he was ridiculous on how hard he could throw.
And a fly ball out to left. Shane Robinson makes the catch. Good work by Rosenthal. A 1-2-3 inning. Cardinals lead it 4-0. We go. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. Been a lot of fun. The Cardinals have allowed just 2 hits. That was Andrew McCutchen with the 2 hits for the Pirates. Cardinals, the 4-run lead. And Jason Grilli, the all-star closer for the Pirates, is in. Our Chevy call to the pen.
You know, Clint Hurdle's glad to have him back. He really has his closer the first half of the season. Then he's got his closer who took over for him. So another weapon for him if Jason Grilli can regain that form. And this could be something that would be important for the Pirates' playoff time, especially.
Jason Grilli, a very good story. Had a freak injury to his leg. Not to say that he's been a journeyman, but he has been used as a starter, middle relief man, and the Pirates gave him a shot when most felt that that leg injury, which was a broken bone and got into a muscle in his leg, and it happened in a hotel room, just routine. There's something odd that happened, and they thought his career was done. The muscle was shredded. Did not want to give up the idea of playing baseball. He comes from a baseball family. His dad was involved in pro ball. He was a high draft choice. And sure enough, Jason Grilli finds a home with Pittsburgh. Hanrahan traded away, and Jason Grilli emerged as their closer.
Well, he found a home, but he could have been had by anybody, probably. I mean, you could have offered any prospect to get Jason Grilli. At one point when we saw him with Detroit, he was kind of an up and down guy a few years ago and not really that big a deal. And I think he's a guy that teams could have gone out to get had they wanted him.
He was there for anybody.
Right.
2-1 pitch. And Yachty, a good hack at it, fouled back. Cardinals picked up 2 runs in the 4th, 1 in the 5th, another in the 6th. They have only 4 hits. Pitching of Wainwright, a story tonight. Home run by David Freese. That was in the 6th inning. He's on deck. And then we'll see Matt Adams. Yachty shoots it down the right field line, but foul.
We remember what the Pirates did last night. Not to keep bringing that up, Dan, but I think you have to keep thinking about adding on runs the best you can. Rosenthal was terrific in that 8th inning, but it's a Pirate team that can explode. I wouldn't call them the best offense, but they have a good team thing going on. I think they believe in themselves collectively.
That's hit out to deep left and over Tabata, who glided to that baseball, and Molina is in with a double. He's had a bunch of those this season. Brings in David Freese, and we'll flash back to 2011. Wondering if this ball that he hit tonight was close to that spot right there. The famous Game 6 winner. And then tonight, our Nissan drive of the game. Very, very similar. Almost in the same spot. Way to go, David Freese. Big gap in left center. And Freese looks at a strike. Molina now with 38 doubles. The all-time record for a Cardinals catcher for doubles is 40. That was Ted Simmons. 0-1 pitch here to David Freese. Ground ball right side, productive out. Yachty advancing to third. And a chance here for Matt Adams.
Productive outs, get handshakes from teammates. Ho-hums from some folks, but the teammates understand how important that is to get that runner to third base with just 1 out. Now the infield drawn in. Matt Adams goes from a 264 hitter to a 330 hitter, probably, with the infield in. A lot more angles for him to smack one through.
You can see when Beltran, they have the shift on for him. He tries to shoot it to that left side. Let's see what Adams can do. And that pitch is taken for a strike. You know, Grilli and Vahika, Uehara is closing games out in Boston at an amazing rate. Finding guys that weren't typical closers or thought of in that manner, but yet becoming outstanding closers. One pitch. Ooh, almost to the backstop. Vahika getting loose, and so is Seth Maness. Maness. This becomes a non-save situation, you would assume. 2-2. Adams, pinch hit for Brock Peterson, struck out looking his first time up. That was back in the 6th inning, and then stayed in the game. Popped up, left side, foul territory, playable. Two outs. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals.
We saw Dusty Baker use Aroldis Chapman in a non-save situation because it was an important game in his mind. And even though it was 4 runs instead of 3, he used Chapman to kind of finish off the Cardinals. And Chapman, by the way, was still available the next night against the Dodgers, still throwing 100 miles an hour. And you just wonder whether Mike Matheny might start doing that. I mean, the book basically is that you use your closer when it's a safe situation. But, boy, playing for first place, got an opportunity. Do you play around or not?
One of the big hits in this game, Pete Kozma, a 2-out infield hit, RBI back in the 4th. That scored Molina. Yadi is standing at 3rd. It is interesting when you're inside the division. It seems like more times than not you're going to see that done, and certainly late.
And September 7th and beyond. Yeah. What a feel-good moment that was for Pete Kozma. That infield hit.
A 2-0 pitch to Kozma. Snapped an 0 for 33 skid last night in a sacrifice situation. Dropped down a bunt, beat it out, and part of 9 consecutive hits in the 7th inning for the Cardinals. Descalso has moved to the on-deck circle, and it's 3-1. Wainwright's fastball the last 2 games was hit at a 571 clip. And tonight, I think we saw that his fastball was effective because he was able to locate. Really spotted it well. 3-2.
He didn't really hit any of his pitches at any clip. Just 2 hits for Pittsburgh. And I think that speaks to the mistake point that we've been making about Wainwright, is he made a lot of mistakes when he wasn't pitching well. It's still all about execution. He said he felt good, he just wasn't executing. And of course, I think the tipping point also comes into play. And maybe that adjustment that Chris Carpenter helped him with, and others, and as Jim Hayes reported in the pregame show, there was multiple people looking at the video studying it. And you think about the team effort involved in that. I mean, just sitting there watching a teammate or as a coach watching a particular player over and over and over again, that just shows what it takes to get it right. And they paid the price in terms of time and effort, and it looks like it paid off.
Ooh. Ball 4 to Cosma. Grilly thought he had strike 3. You know, something that the Cardinals have done for a number of years now is Descalso will be the pinch hitter. As Grilly thought he had strike 3, he was ready to walk off the mound, and his reaction, oh. But the side sessions for the starters, all the starters go out and watch their bullpen sessions of each other, and that's something that's awfully unique in the game of baseball.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's unique. I don't remember any team ever doing that. And you think about starting pitchers, if you're not starting that day, you might not even be at the ballpark that early. But they all have to come early to do that, and they pay the price to do it to help each other out.
Glenn Hurdle will go to his bullpen and bring in one of these nasty lefties. Wilson, Watson, Johnson out there to face Descalso, who is due up. At the corners, Shelby Miller pitching his side session earlier today, and this is at 3:35. You can see in the background some of the guys sitting down. Derek Lilliquist there standing up watching Shelby, just to see what they can pick up.
Well, you learn some things through osmosis, and as Derek Lilliquist is offering advice to Shelby Miller, others are hearing it. And you can reinforce the advice that the coach is telling you. And I think there's something to that, too, because you want to hear one voice. You don't want your pitching coach to be saying to you in your side session, do A, B, and C. And then you go over and have conversations with your fellow teammates, and they say do X, Y, Z, and all of a sudden you're confused.
So 2 outs and a 1-0 pitch. This is Watson into the game as Descalso hits it out of play. And out to left, base hit Descalso. He does it against a lefty. Drives in Yachty. 5-0 St. Louis. Take that, take that. Oh yeah. Boom, boom, boom. Body shot, body blow. Bam.
Oh, that was fun. He was having none of that. I don't think this is nearly as much fun as the fans' reactions. Take that. He's not even paying attention.
Take that. She even had a little head wiggle, too.
And he just kept texting away.
Yep. Wanted no part of it. Run is charged to Grilly.
I think he was breaking up with her via text. I'm through with you. Oh, my goodness. Oh, boy.
Now it's Carpenter with 2 runners on. That was funny. He's thinking, man, can I just get to win number 82? Please. Please. I want to see a winning season. I want to see history. And instead, my girlfriend's over here rubbing it in my face about the Cardinals knocking the baseball all over the ballpark here tonight.
We're going to have to check out where that seat number is, and I hope they're here at the ballpark again tomorrow.
Oh, check this out. Wait, they're texting us. Wait a minute.
But he's still representing, still wearing that old school pirate hat.
It's a young John Candelaria.
He's taking it all in stride, isn't he?
Good for Daniel to get that RBI base hit against a lefty. As Carpenter hits a high fly ball out to right. That'll stay in the ballpark. The catch is made. A long night for the Pirates and their fans here at Busch Stadium. Cardinals look for the knock.
Lewis coming up after the game on the post-game edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. Pat Paris will be with Al Raboski. Adam Wainwright gets back to being Adam Wainwright. David Freese gets hot to look at his surge. Plus, we'll have Mike Matheny's post-game comments as well. Seth Banis on to pitch for the Cardinals. We head back to the booth, and Dan and Rick, guys.
Okay, Jim, good job as always. It's Seth Banis in our Chevy Call to the Pen, appearing for the 57th time, so Mejica can have a seat. Non-save situation. Daniel Descalso, by the way, stays in the game playing third base. Is hitting 180 against left-handed pitching. and just his 7th RBI against a lefty, and it's a big one, allowing Mujica to sit down. The standings: the Cardinals win, and they hold on. They're in first place. It's the top of the lineup. Tabata, Walker, and McCutchen.
Not only did Descalzo get that hit off a lefty, it was a tough lefty.
And a line shot into right center. Over to get it. Jay cuts it off. Leadoff double for Tabata. Manus in relief of Rosenthal after 7 very good innings. Shutout innings from Adam Wainwright. And it brings in Neil Walker. Let's turn to tonight's Budweiser player of the game. And it's Adam Wainwright, big number 50. 7 innings, 2 hits. He strikes out 8, 2 walks. And as we noted, we thought at least one of those he was pitching around.
That was Morneau, and the left-hander had set up a double play for Wainwright. Really a terrific performance, bounce-back performance for him after 2 rough outings, and he just could not have been better.
That pitch is in the dirt to Neil Walker. And a fly ball lifted into left center. Over to get it. Shane Robinson makes the catch. Tabata will tag up from second to third.
One of the things we love about Seth Maness is he works quickly. He does give up his share of hits, but very few walks, a lot like Mujica in that regard. When you've got somebody pitching late in the game, honestly, the thing that kills you more than anything is walks. Well, home runs kill you too, but walks just seem to pile up those runs.
Well, case in point here tonight. Beltran walked to start the bottom of the 4th. Came around to score on the sac fly RBI by Freese eventually. Matt Carpenter was hit by a pitch. He came around to score. So 2 of the runs scored tonight by the Cardinals in a fashion that they didn't really earn their way on with a base hit.
Well, and you could say the walk to Pete Kozma with 2 outs and Grilli on the mound. That pitch he didn't get leads to eventually a Cardinal run with the pinch hitter Daniel Descalzo getting a base hit. He throws a strike there, gets Kozma out somehow, and you would think Grilli would have a good chance of that, as tough as he's been. That inning's over. The Cardinals don't score in that 8th inning. And Cardinal run in the 6th inning had nothing to do with walking, other than the fact that David Freese didn't have to run after he hit the ball 420 feet to center. It's one of my favorite parts of this game, Dan, so far, and it's not over yet, but David Freese's home run, you just hope that's an indication of David maybe turning the corner. A couple of home runs now within the last few days, and boy, wouldn't that be perfect timing for him to get it right.
And that's kept in front. Ground ball back to Manus. Keeps the shutout intact. Very important, wouldn't you say?
It's a better feel, doesn't it?
You got it.
He worked so quickly, he almost threw that ball to first base too quickly. Here's the ground ball. I got it. Oop, I worked quickly. I'm throwing it now. And Matt Adams wasn't really even there yet. He had to kind of do a quick little half step to get to the first base bag in time.
That'll be it for Manus. Cardinals go to the pen. They are 1 out away from moving into first place. No, 56th appearance for Randy. The Cardinals 1 out away from moving into first place here tonight and sole possession in the NL Central Division. Morneau 0 for 2 against the Cardinal lefty.
And a bunch of Willie McGee jerseys are standing up.
Including you.
Including me.
45,110. First pitch, foul back for strike one. Game number 142 tonight for the Cardinals. And trying to pick up victory number 82. One ball, one strike. The chance of let's go Cardinals here at the ballpark. Cho trying to finish it off. 1-1. Strike two. Morneau can't believe it. Wow, he says. May have an argument. Everyone on their feet. The 1-2. Got him! The Cardinals are in first place. Choate ends it with a strikeout. A 5-0 Cardinal victory. St. Louis atop the NL Central.
And a convincing victory here tonight. Adam Wainwright wins his 16th. He pitched 7 very solid innings. The bullpen does the rest. Only 3 Pittsburgh Pirate hits. David Freese with a home run, and all smiles is the Cardinal manager, first place manager Mike Matheny.
Cardinals will look for a sweep tomorrow. We'll have it for you on Fox Sports Midwest. Much more to come on the postgame show.